Hi, I'm Bethay, Recovery Peer Specialist at Here Tomorrow. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about growth mindset. What is that? Let's find out. But first, a few questions. With which traits are children born? Are they born wanting to be helpful, altruistic? Do they automatically have the drive to master new tasks and overcome? Do they want to solve the problems and challenges that are in front of them? How about social connections, making real human connections with their caregivers and others around them? Optimism instinctively to overcome setbacks. Motivation that comes from within, that when they're faced with obstacles and problems and challenges, you know, the rolling over, sitting up, walking, um, intrinsically, they keep going. They're not worried about their failures. And then finally, the drive to acquire knowledge and develop intelligence. It just comes with the package when you're a baby. But what happens? Somewhere along the line, we learn something different. I'll tell you what you won't see. You won't see babies that are born unmotivated to do things. They're going to discover um, how to interact with the world around them, with their families. They're going to find out. They're born learners and they're engaged learners. They're active in the process. And that's how we want to be. We can learn a lot from those little guys. What's a mindset? Do you think it's how you think of yourself or how other people think of you? Of course, a mindset is how you think of yourself, and it is very important. It shapes how you interact with the world and all of the people that are in your world. In fact, it's so worthy that scientists have done multiple studies on different types of mindsets. One that I really love her research is Carol Dweck. Um, she did research into self theories, and it demonstrated that most people have one of two mindsets, either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Um, it's worthy to note that not all people are completely one or the other. We're humans. So even someone who has studied and has practiced and is interested in growth mindset thinking um, can revert back to the fixed mindset when faced with a particular challenge. Not everyone is all of one thing, but it's in the growth. It's in trying to foster the kind of life and the kind of thinking that will ultimately lead you to be productive and happier. If at the end of this you're interested, I Googled that book on Amazon a few minutes ago. It's about $10 in paperback. So if you want, you could always get a copy for yourself. It's a short read. Um, let's look more closely at what a fixed mindset is versus a growth mindset. Fixed mindset says, you look up here at the top, it says, I believe that intelligence is fixed. That means that you believe that when you were tested in elementary school and got that IQ number or those test scores or whatever, that's your intelligence. That's what you have to work with. And we're finding out that that's actually just not true. Down to the right, I don't like a challenge. It makes me look stupid. Or you're afraid of failure. You want to do this thing, but you're scared for different reasons. Going to the bottom, I was born bright. Or conversely, I was born not so bright. People who, when they're growing up, they get all the trophies and all the accolades, excel in sports, and they think they're really smart. A lot of times that's just as much of a detriment to their well-being as the person who has a low self-esteem and thinks they're not very bright. Think about it. The one who's experienced continual success in different areas and thinks they're so smart also probably thinks they're always right and they don't make mistakes. And that can lead to problems in their interpersonal relationships and in all kinds of areas because we're all going to experience failure. So both of those are actually detrimental to your mindset. And then over on the left, I like easy goals. Um, That way you don't have to face a larger challenge and perhaps fail. I like being told I've done well. Back to ego, I like being told I'm smart because it validates you. But that is a fixed mindset compared to what it could be. Now let's take a look at some of the same exact ideas. Oh, change. Um, Believing, truly believing that intelligence is not fixed. And I have some slides for you later to show you a little bit of the research on that. Knowing that intelligence can be improved through training. There's all kinds of cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT. There's all kinds of different programs and that can help people to improve their intelligence by changing their thinking. And today we're just focusing on one way of thinking versus a different mindset. Looking toward bottom, I thrive on challenges. I throw myself into difficult tasks, uh, meaning that when that challenge comes up, that thing you want to do, um, you're not afraid to give it a go and make a mistake. Uh, and then over here, I like learning goals. I have them, and I like feedback so I can improve. Um, Talking with people, sometimes they don't even have a learning goal. They're not aware, they're stuck, and they're not aware that they can develop new learning goals to master and feed them. Um, and then a word on feedback. A lot of times when we're given feedback, we don't like the way that people say it to us, don't like the delivery method, and you're not amenable to the message. But if you start with the premise of this mindset where I appreciate feedback, even if it's delivered in not such a great way, that can be addressed separately. You can still accept the feedback and use it to improve. So now that we've talked a little bit about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, here's something that you might be believing. I addressed it a little bit earlier. People with a high ability are more likely to display a growth mindset. Might surprise you that just the opposite is sometimes true. You would think that people who have crazy mad skills or um, PhDs or whatever other types of successes, skilled in a certain area, that they would want to be challenged and to keep going in the face of setbacks. But instead, it's not always true. Many of those people are the people who are most worried about failure, the most likely to question their ability. They don't, they're not amenable to these challenges. And so what happens is when an obstacle comes up, they believe they have the skills, they have the intelligence, and then they wilt in the face of those obstacles. Another thought, success in school or in your job or in life would directly give you a better mindset to face further challenges. Not always true. You think that these folks would be emboldened and energized to seek out more tasks, but the truth is that those successes don't do much to boost people's desire to face new things, to have new challenges, and especially successful people don't necessarily have any ability to cope with setbacks. This is something that can be learned through growth mindset. Sometimes those successful people have the hardest time. So, mindset, it's how you think of you. I like to compare it to a plant, succulent. First of all, I'm kind of a succulent nut. I have a little collection. But secondly, there's such beautiful, vibrant colors, but they grow really slowly. You need to give them their fertilizer and their water, and you need to have a lot of patience and wait. And fostering a growth mindset is a lot like that. It takes time and it takes you feeding that mindset to develop it before it becomes part of who you are. So we're going to compare the two. Fixed mindset, people who think that their skills can't be changed. You know what you know. Or growth mindset, people that believe that their skills can be changed through hard work and dedication. What skills do you have? What skills would you like to learn? Think about it. Here's a little comparison. The fixed mindset person avoids the challenges that might lead them to failure and mistakes. And the person with a growth mindset embraces those same challenges, develops an action plan, takes baby steps to accomplish the goals. Fixed mindset gives up easily, whereas the growth mindset adopts perseverance. And even though they might have continual setbacks and new setbacks and unexpected things, they keep going, that perseverance. Sees effort as useless. Why bother? I just screw everything up anyway, or I'm just going to mess it up, or it'll be like last time. Whereas the growth mindset would provide you with the ability to see your efforts as a path to an end goal. Ignoring helpful criticism versus learning from it. And as I said earlier, a lot of people do not have grace and tact when offering feedback and don't know how to present it in a constructive manner. Uh, that's another challenge. Something to master is how to set boundaries and teach folks how to deliver that criticism. But criticism can actually be a very powerful tool for self-reflection. It's something to learn to embrace no matter how it comes at you, whether it's done with tact and grace or not. Feels threatened by the success of others versus finds lessons and inspiration in the success of others. Think about a time when another student friend of yours or a colleague at work had a major success. And instead of just feeling happy for them, you felt maybe jealous or started comparing yourself. I should have thought of that. I should have done that. I should have worked harder. That could have been me. Um, the next time you find yourself in sort of that situation where you're comparing, feeling threatened, see if you can approach someone and just give your unbridled joy and mean it. I'm happy for you. Then later, the self-reflection. So in the face of setbacks, the fixed mindset, it's all about me. In fact, everything's about me. Whereas the growth mindset realizes that a lot of things that go on, it's not about me. It's about learning. It's about continuing to foster a better way to approach life. Fixed mindset wants to hide their mistakes. They don't want anyone to even know they've made them, as if every human didn't make many mistakes, and hide their deficiencies. Whereas a growth mindset says, okay, I made that mistake. And now I'm going to make the most out of it and learn from it. And they confront those areas in which needs work and say, okay, action plan. I'm going to tackle this and come up with reasonable steps to make it work. A fixed mindset provides no recipe for recovering from failures, and I put failures in quotes because failures are really opportunities to go in a different direction. Give up, don't even try, retreating to what you are comfortable with, blaming others, trying to feel superior. Can you relate to any of that? Are those behaviors, thoughts, something that you've done or something that you've experienced in others? Back to my analogy with plants. You could be just like this beautiful succulent up top, or embracing that fixed mindset, not being willing to put in the work to make a change. You might end up a little depleted, a little wilty. So game time. All right. To which mindset are these phrases linked? Looking smart at all cost, not losing face. Of course, that's a wilter. The thought that it should come naturally. Maybe your father or your sister or your partner does something really well, and you think that you should do it well too. Um, In my family, we speak another language, and one of my children, the youngest one, didn't have the benefit of living in that country like our son did, and she feels like the second language should just be natural to her. But when in fact, language is something that is learned, and it's taken her years to be comfortable, and she's still a little shy about making mistakes, but she does have that growth mindset to help her out. So that's a negative, believing that something should just come to you. Um, Not everyone is the same. Work hard. Effort is key. You guessed it. That's a flourish. Learn at all costs. You've got a goal. You want to learn a new skill, even if that is adopting a growth mindset, or whether it be taking an HVAC course. It doesn't matter. I'm going to learn this at all costs. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to find a different way to get this information or master this skill. Yep. Improve based on mistakes. You guessed it. That one is positive. And hiding your mistakes from others because of your own fears, it's going to lead you down the wrong way. Fixed mindset. So, further encouraging you to look more into this and try to adopt that growth mindset. There's research beyond Carol Dweck. And this article, for example, is some research that shows that you can grow your intelligence, that the brain is a muscle that can be developed. And if you were to Google this about brain plasticity, there's a lot of research out there to support this, that intelligence is not your fixed IQ, or that that you didn't do well in high school and that's it. You're not smart. It's not true. Um, they're studying things all the time. Also for elderly patients and dementia, there's different things that demonstrates that as you age, if you take certain actions and adopt certain mindsets, that you can actually change how the neurons connect in your brain. This scan shows that a growth mindset brain actually works harder. If you look at the one on the left, um, there's not much going on, whereas on the right, it demonstrates that the synapses are firing, the neurons are flying. When you adopt a growth mindset, you're constantly seeking and looking for solutions. It's actually good for your brain. A couple quotes to end out on. Failure is success in progress. Einstein. Once we realize that imperfect understanding is the human condition, there's no shame in being wrong, only in failing to improve and correct our mistakes. Um, and the thought occurs to me that with this imperfect understanding in this day and age, with Google and all of the access we have to so much information right at our fingertips, it's very hard to figure out a good, solid understanding, to sift through all those sources and see what's reliable and what's not. That's our condition. One more, we learn wisdom from failure much more than from success. We, off, we often discover what we'll do by finding out what we'll not do. And probably, definitely, he who never made a mistake never made a discovery. If we didn't make mistakes, get faced with setbacks and challenges, and adopt a mindset to confront them in a constructive manner, we don't grow. So I thank you so much for watching this. I have something for you. For you. My name is Bethay. I'm at Here Tomorrow. I'm a recovery peer specialist, and you can reach me at my office phone or my cell phone, or reach out to talk to any of my colleagues. Thank you for watching today.